elect a Mamala Makom. You have to elect a somebody to take your place.
Yeah.
And this way, we have to have a Mamali Makom.
I said
So, that's,
can every week.
we're learning, first of all, good evening, everybody. And Beis Hashem, gesund Sommer. And I can't think of a better gesund than yes. Mashiach Tzidkeinu Teichem Yad Mamish, Begula Mitzvah Shleima.
Amen.
And in addition, before I forget, I'd like to, as it were, dedicate the whole learning and the Farim, which is the main part of the evening, to Shleima for Zimroni Zelig ben Tzipora Feiga. You heard of Zimroni Chick? You know him, the Shliach of the Rebbe in Bat Yam. He's the big Mishchet, he's one of the really big figures. He's unfortunately critically ill. He had a stroke. Very bad stroke. He's critically ill. So, it should be a shikayat. Thank you. What about it? Yes. And together with that, I'd like to also be Metzora for Ze'ev ben Leo, what is one of my very choice Talmud, and he was my personal doctor when I was in America, and he helped me through a very key portion of my life, as he just had a very serious operation for, unfortunately, they removed one of his lungs. He's also in a very critical situation. Ze'ev ben Leo. So those two people should have a full Shleima, Gemura, Torah Amish, the Seichachi, co-crazy, so taking me up.
Amen.
So, our this evening is we're going to deal very briefly with the Sikha this evening, because we have in front of us a Fabringen, because our very dear and valued comrade Pinchas Eliyahu is leaving us for the United States. But we want to make a special Fabringen in his honor. And also tonight is Kovches Nissan. But that's when 28 years ago, Kovches, but years ago, the Rebbe made the famous Sikha whereby he requested that everybody see the coming of Mashiach as their personal responsibility, and requesting that people be akshonim about the coming of Mashiach, that they must, based on a famous statement of the Alter Rebbe about the issue which we'll mention as we go along. Be'ez Hashem. That's very famous. Sikha, and tonight in the Merkaza, there are certain big assembly or kinusim taking place, so we feel that we should at least, bring a bit and stress the urgency of the Rebbe's request that we work towards bring Mashiach B'Peh Mamish. So what we're going to do is just to deal very briefly with what is a very long and complicated sikha, what the Rebbe said on Parsha Tazria Metzora Tov Shin Nun Aleph. However, at that time, like this year, it was the same kriyas. The Pesach was on Shabbos. So that means that over there, when it was Parsha Metzora, Tazria, it was a week later than by us. We are now over there. In America, it's only Shmini now. It's not. So therefore, the Rebbe said this in reference to Tazria Metzora, a week after what is actually here. And therefore, the Rebbe refers to the spirit or the Malchus Shabbat Tiferet. And by us, it's only Shabbos is going to be. Well, it's not really good to say. We haven't got that far. It's a question that maybe we've already counted the spirit. So we're the same thing in Gevura, but not in Teferet. However, this sikha became very famous by the Chassidim in that the Rebbe made a very what is now well-known request at the end of the sikha that everybody should undertake to learn in Yonim and Torah Bekesha to Mashiach v'Geula. And the Rebbe said that, as I pointed out, the Shvius over there was in Tiferet. And the Rebbe said that the Kolas Indian of Tiferet has got to do with Torah, as one now. Torah is the Kavai and Tzai, and so is Tiferet. That's the Kavai and Tzai, the middle line of the Sfiras. And Malchus was over there then, was Malchus Shabbat Tiferet, on that particular Shabbat, the Rebbe said this Sikha. So Malchus has, of course, got to do with the whole Eden of Moshiach. Moshiach is Melech HaMoshiach, Eden from Malchus, Stavkir. So the Rebbe stressed that the concept and the image of Moshiach is connected very integrally with the concept of Tiferet, which is Torah, and especially as the Twanan, and brought down B'direi Chazal and developed on a lot in Sforim that's written by the Metzora at the beginning of the second Parsha, which is part of the Kriyas HaTorah, the Shabbos, Parsha Metzora, that's written B'zois Tiyeh Toiras HaMetzora B'yoyim Taharosai. Zois Tiyeh Toiras, which is not a usual language. And so why do we say Zois Tiyeh Toiras HaMetzora? In order to bring about the Tahara from the Matzah of the Metzora. But the Rebbe points out that the whole meaning of Golos is like Tzorat, like Nega Tzorat, is the Tahara from that state is Abidei Torah, Zois Tiyeh Toiras. So the Rebbe said that what could be better than the Torah, which is going to be Mataher, the whole Jewish people from the state of the Golos, that is learning Torah in reference to Malchus Tiferet, which was the sphere of that particular Shabbat, when the Rebbe was talking. And Malchus Tiferet is connected with Moshiach, as we pointed out. So therefore the Rebbe said that all indicates that if we want really to bring and to make a reality of Moshiach in the lives of our youth, the way to do so bite people, so people can sit up here. Everybody likes to sit down that end of the table. I don't bite people, people can sit here. But anyway, what it follows is that the Rebbe sees that if people will join together in learning in Yom Teru Moshiach, that will be like what you might call the final sledgehammer, the final, what the Gemara calls in Shabbos, the final Makab Patish, which will bring Moshiach. And therefore the Rebbe stresses, and this was a big chiddush at that time, and it made a big effect in the whole Siddush world. And therefore we've been, ever since then, in these shurim, I don't know ever since then, but in the light of that request of the Rebbe, we try as much as we can in our classes, particularly this one on Thursday night, to learn the Rebbe's message about Moshiach and the whole Yisraelis towards the Geula. And also, when we learn the other shiurim that we teach, we try to emphasize and bring out the Inyanim, how they're connected with the union of B'yas HaMashiach. So that's what we're going to do before we begin the Farbrengen this evening. We're just going to learn a brief piece right at the end, which may be a little unusual, but we have a well-known klal in the Gemara that that the way you sort of sign off, that's the way everything goes. So Gemara Metzora Brachas Daf Yud Beit. As we're going to also we're going to deal with the chisum and but just to give a brief summing up of the whole Sikha, the Rebbe says that Tazria means Ayusha, what that indicates Knesset Yisrael. Yisha B'derech Klal indicates Yidden for many reasons in Pnimius and in the drosses of the Medrashi Chazal. And Tazria means that she will give birth, that she will be fruitful, and she will give birth to a male child, and that's all indicatory of the Geula. That's the whole meaning of the Geula is like a fruitfulness and a bearing fruit. After there's been already like a sowing of all the generations that didn't have been working the Torah mitzvahs, and they've all been looking towards Moshiach, but the ultimate fruitfulness of that, the Tazria, well, that's the message of the Geula. And therefore the Yorachaim HaKodesh and some of the great Meforshim on the Torah deal with the whole imagery of how the giving birth to a male child is an image of the whole concept of the Geula. Then the Rebbe says that, however, we follow immediately after the din of the Isha who was given birth to a male child and then to a female child, then all of a sudden we meet up with all the Negoyim. So the Rebbe said, that doesn't seem to fit together because the Negoyim, they would be symbolical of the Golas. And then the Rebbe says even more, Metzora, the word Metzora means somebody who's suffering from the Golas, unfortunately. But then the Rebbe brings a very surprising Gemara. What the Gemara tells us right near the end of the sect of the Sanhedrin, the Gemara tells us that Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi met up with Eliyahu Hanavi, and this used to occur with quite a lot of the great sages, of the Gemara. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, he's like on the border between the Tanoim and the Amoraim. There's a discussion in one part of the Shas as to whether he's a Tano or an Amel, but he's like on the borderline between the two. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi meets up with Eliyahu Hanavi. Like it's a davar ragil, Shalom Aleichem Eliyahu. So he says to Eliyahu Hanavi, you're supposed to be like praying the Geula, you and Mashiach together. What's with Mashiach? When's he going to come? So you know what Eliyahu Hanavi answered him? He said, why do you ask me? He said, why don't you ask Mashiach himself? That's what he said to him. He said, why don't instead of asking me, go ask Mashiach. So Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi said, willingly, but where do I meet him? So he answered a very surprising answer. He said that he's a Metzora, he is a leper, and he's sitting in front of one of the walls in Rome together with a group of other guys who are in a similar situation. And over there, that's one of those Metzora is Moshiach. And he brings a posik there to support it without going into the whole, right from the posik and the whole rigas. So, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi is very surprised. So he eventually either went to see this person or he heard about him. And it's very interesting. It's written that these guys have these Nagoyim on them. So what they used to do was once a day they used to treat themselves or cover themselves up or put a new beged or a new bandage on all their things. So it's written they would uncover everything at one go and be whatever they did, and then they would cover it up, with the bandage. But he said this Metzora that he's Moshiach, he doesn't do that. He only very unwillingly reveals one at one time. He does whatever he does, and then he covers it up, and then he very hesitantly goes towards the next one. So Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi apparently asked him, why is that? So he said, because I'm waiting every minute. I'm on call, I'm waiting to be called, to told that I have to come and... So he said, if I'm in the middle, that's going to hold me back. I can only afford to do one at a time, and in the meantime, we're going to wait and see what's happening. As is written in the Gemara, in the Masechta Sanhedrin. So the Rebbe says, Melech HaMashiach's got both in about him. He's putting up with the Golas, because that's part of his job, but he's waiting very anxiously to be Melech HaMashiach B'Poyel, because he really is Moshiach. So the word Metzora has in itself both inyonim, both the savor of the goddess, over the finish of the goddess, and the tahara from the whole goddess, which when he is actually called and he will run. He has to be ready to run. That's what he told Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. So the Fisa, it comes that the word Metzora is harikot koil in itself. And the Rebbe brings in a footnote over there in the Sikha a very interesting thing, that he noticed on his father-in-law, the Rebbe Rayatz, that the Rebbe Rayatz never called this Parsha Metzora. He always avoided using the word Metzora. He would either refer to it as the Parsha, or he would say the day of the week or the month, but he wouldn't say it's Parsha Metzora. He didn't want to use the word in a negative way. And so therefore, once he did refer to it, he called it Parsha Tahara. In other words, it's the Tahara from the goddess, but it's not. We don't want to use the word Metzora, even though that's indicative of Moshiach, because maybe you might think that it means the goddess, and we don't want that, Chas v'Sholom. Yeah, that's just by the way. So anyway, right near the end, it's page 192, I think in my thing, it's written Tachlis. What the word Tachlis in Yiddish means, what's the final pitch line? What is the Tachlis? So he says, Mahi be'etzem ha'mashmois ha'maisiyas shel tzemed ha'milim Malchus Shabbat. What does it mean? Like the Rebbe said, like I said, when the Rebbe gave the seal was Shabbos, and that was already Malchus Shabbat, because they're a week later. Shabbos by us is going to be Gevurah, but by them it was Tiferet. So the Rebbe said that Tiferet is Torah, and Malchus, as we said, is the Malchus of Mashiach. So he said, Mekivan Shemeduva B'Puleis Achreines L'Havos HaMashiach. We're talking about the last necessary inyonim, to bring about what we need to do to bring Mashiach. Shel Shem Kach Drusha Ishtadlers shall call you the Omedech Meir Tishim Stein. So the Rebbe said, Shel Shem Kach Drusha Ishtadlers shall call Yehudi Lahovi Es HaMashiach. Moven she'ein tzerech b'malchus bilvad. It's not enough just to have the kingship of Mashiach. But that's the whole concept of malchus. No, he said, no, kivan shezehu tafkida shel HaMashiach ba'atzmei. That's ein nachanami. To be the king is the job of Mashiach. Shori she'tiyeh malchus in yoni shel Mashiach kefishe. That the whole way, Melech HaMashiach will anyway, his whole malchus and his whole way of functioning as a king will be based on how it is in Torah. It's only right to combine the two things together and make the Tiferes of Malchus should be the Torah about Mashiach. Bekoyach HaTorah lifoil sheniye keilim lemalchus la'eres anailim shalagula v'Mashiach. And through the learning, but that's Tiferes, learning of Torah, well, that will make us into keilim. So it follows, if he said, that Torah has an amazing, and it's brought down in Chassidus about this. And that's why it's so important, this whole content that we get together and learn. So when I said that the Sudas Mashiach over there, it's important that people should leave their homes and all come together, and we learn together. Why? Because the Indian of Torah has a double function. There are two main issues in every oilam, and that is oiros and there's kelim. And the ultimate perfection is that the oiros have to come into the kelim. And the very, very high oiros have to come into kelim. And kelim are limited, but that's the ultimate tachlis, that the highest oil should be revealed into a kli. Because otherwise, the oil just, it becomes too much. Of a matter, we have to limit somehow into our lives that unbelievable dearness of the light of Torah. So therefore, Torah has an amazing effect on you. On the one hand, it lights you up and shows you the way. Ner l'ragli raglecha, it's the light to my foot. This is the way. But on the other hand, at the same moment when you're learning Torah, you not only get the light, but you also get the kingdom. It makes together with the light. It shapes you in such a way that you're a vessel to receive that light, and the light doesn't just fall and spread out all over the place but not have any ultimate effect, because you become a keli at the same time as becoming a subject of the oil. You also become a keli, and that is the greatness of Torah. So therefore the Rebbe said, if we'll have the inyan of a Torah, or Torah is both Oyer and Keli together, and it has an effect on a man. So when he learns Torah, well, it lights up his life, and at the same time, it gives him the Keli whereby to receive it. However, by learning in Yonim of Mashiach in Torah, then we shape our lives in such a way that we become Tiferes Sheba Malchus. We become oyer. Tiferes is a kaveh mitzvah. It's a tremendous oyer, but at the same time we have the koyer to make kelim in our lives to receive that oyer. And not like the Bnei Aaron, but that's in next week's Parsha, immediately, Parsha Achrei, what the Rebbe connects it in the Sikha earlier, the Rebbe says that that was the problem with the Bnei Aaron. They were great people, but they didn't have the kelim, and therefore they went into a very, very tremendously high oil, but they couldn't handle it. So what happened was the neshamas left their body. You find that's not the ultimate kavanah. But when you learn Torah, particularly as the Rebbe is going to stress, we learn it all together, then it causes both the light and the keli come together. Bamilim Pshutais, says the Rebbe, Tiferes mivatei yesayinin shel melech HaMashiach v'hagula b'Torah, but through the inyan from Torah. That's what Tiferes indicates. Efshar l'mod et b'Tanakh, one can learn this in Torah, Nevi'im, and Kesuvim, or b'frat b'divrei ha-Nevi'im, ha-Medabrim rabbis ala Mashiach v'hagula. That's 100 with the Rambam. The Rambam brings down in Hilchos Malachim, right near the end of his great work. The Rambam says that the Kol HaNevi'im v'ya Kesuvim Malayim mizeh, meaning me'inyan ha'geula. That's what he wrote, Malayim. So the Nevi'im talk a tremendous amount about the Geula. He said, "V'gam b'Gemara b'miuchad b'sof Masechta Sanhedrin v'sof Masechta Soita." Well, that's what we just brought now. The Gemara, the story about Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi and Eliyahu Hanavi. That's from the latter part of the Gemara, Masechta San, Daftali Chet on the page. And Masechta Soita openly talks about the final period prior to Mashiach coming. There's going to be all sorts of confusions and inyanim, and I think we've already been yoted with that. So it's high time that we get out to what's called Poel Mammon. However, he said about Medrashim, not just in the Gemara, but also in Medrashim, Bezoya, Chassidus, both in the Zoya, there's a lot about it, and in Chassidus, and B'Teres Nasi'ei Chabad, our Rabbeim, all talk about the Geula, over Frat B'Mamorim, B'Likuti Sigas, Shel Nasi Doreinu HaRebbe. The Sigas, that of the Rebbe, Malim Mizeh, form. Yeshkol Zeh Mahave HaChoneh V'Dugma L'Mashiach HaMashiach Yelamed B'Geula. If you get into this, then you're already sort of making a touch, at least, of what Mashiach is going to teach everybody. And it's interesting, the Alter Rebbe, or the Maimon of Pesach in the Likutei Torah, the Alter Rebbe's got a whole piece about how's Mashiach going to teach so many million people. They're going to come for Tchias HaMeisim and Moshe Rabbeinu and all these people. How's he going to teach them all? So it's written, the Alter Rebbe says there that he's going to teach them, but he's going to teach them that up to now, those who've been great scholars had what's called Re'iyah Chochmah. Well, that's a very profound way of seeing it. You know it so deeply that you see it. But he said, what's going to occur when Mashiach comes, he's going to teach in a way that Kira will see it, B'Pel Mammon. Then you'll be able to, the computers will begin to make sense of why you got so many screens all over the world, and people are going to have to watch and see Divrei Torah from Mashiach. So a beginning from that is if you learn now in Yoni, Mashiach Yilamed Begula, V'Hayisofa Binyoni Mashiach Begula, Yobi Esagula, that the innovative Malchus, Tiferes, is the innovative learning Torah Sam Mashiach and Pilti Sovic, since that's what Mashiach is going to do. That was a promote and be more the Koyach Mashiach. Ami Tzorik Lomoy, who's supposed to do this? So the Rebbe said, Kol Echad V'Echad. Yeah, he said, Gam Halamdonian. Also the people who think that they already, rightfully, they know how to learn. But Gam Bali Asokim, even business people, Tzrichim Lahoisi B'Poyu B'Limud HaTorah U'B'Miyuchad Binyoni Mashiach U'Geula. כדאי גם שילמדו אסור לאנושים יחדו. כי לימוד עניונים אשר ברבים מויסי בשמחו ובתשוקה לפיוס המשיח. When you're together with people, yeah, cooks up the whole inyan. ונויזר לקח שהסורה שיש ובעסקים בתורה שכינה שוי עמם. That's the Mephorash Mishnah in Perek Yov. That's the Mishnah at the beginning of Perek Gimel in Perek Yov. If that's the case that Shechina Shruya Beineihem, then that's a big siyata d'shmaya that if you learn the right things, then you get to the right results. Yeah, so that's what the Rebbe said. That's why I pointed out that we make an effort as much as we can in these classes to refer to, also in the other classes that we teach. We try to always bring out the Unionim Beneged to Mashiach. But Tzorich Lohoisiv, Gam Bekil Mitzvah, also you have to bring out into Poel Mamish the learning into mitzvahs, Behido, or Befrat mitzvahs, Zoka. Yeah, Kedai, Gam Nakashas, Nasin, Satstoke, Im Limud Unionim Mashiach. So just by the way, is he awake?
Yeah, myself.
הייתי מציע שאולי שאנחנו לומדים שיהיה פושקי של סטוקה על השולחן. אתה יודע מה שאני מתכוון? וכל אחד יכול לזרוק. הרבי אומר שהסטוקה יהיה ביחד עם החלים. יהיה לימוד עניונים אשר עולה, על ידי שנויזלים סטוקה בכוונה לזרז את הגאולה, לומדים בעצם על דברי רבינו כדי לצדוק שמקרבת את הגאולה. But that brings and promotes the Indian of כדי לצדוק שמקרבת את הגאולה. Het bestelt auf een Eck, met daarvan in midden. Excuse me, not just down on one end. Good. Okay, so everybody, the time will stop now. And now we're going to show him bring him for a very, very dear comrade. It's going to be now a special evening for bringing for Pinchas Eliyahu. And we're also going to talk about Koches Nisan. We'll say a few words also in reference to that because that's a key issue. And everybody should take simple to level, be mekabel to membership.
Okay, ik ga het uitbrengen voor de studie. Perfect.
The English word fertile comes from Korean. Hebrew means to be fertile. The English word Perun comes from the Hebrew word Perun. Wow! How was the Dead Sea? How was the Dead Sea?
Yeah, no, sit down. How you doing? I told him that you bought the yellow stuff. Remind yourself of what was the yellow.
Gabriel,
Give him the spoon.
Gabriel, what's in this?
This is vodka with a bit of an esrig. Esrig together with no, it's cookies. This is vodka. Where's the spoon?
It's a close approximation.
Anybody else want?
Yeah. Maybe a couple of years.
פסח. זהו. Man. Chaim.
Chaim the walk.
Hi.
So,
What's your set?
Tea?
I don't think
This is a tea.
now
Can I hurt?
to bring in is Metzora a very easy task for any of us to face the fact that we stand in front of saying farewell to Tazria. It's not an easy thing. However, on the other hand, we have to be moral the Koyach HaSimcha, Gafne. And I remember when I was in Australia, when I left Australia, and was going back here, maybe 57 years ago, to come on the Rebbe's instruction to come to Metzora, like farewell from my Mashpia, and I knew I wasn't going to be seen for X years, who knows. In those days, to go from Australia to Metzora was like two different worlds together. So when I actually came the moment of parting from him, I started to weep, I couldn't hold back my tears. So he shook his head and he said, no, you mustn't do that. He said, we must part only b'simcha. When we part, we have to part b'simcha. B'simcha saytzeyu u'v'sholem tu v'lon. If the going out and the parting is b'simcha, then you'll be brought in also b'sholem and all the brachas accompany. That's that can't divrei halav. That's what I remember. My Mashpia said to me, so I made a superhuman effort to smile and get into the simcha. However, we find a very amazing thing, and I want to try and bring out this point, and that is that the Gemara in the Masechta Brachas, Daf Lamed Aleph, the Gemara says a very interesting thing, beneged to how you should part from your friend. And there's a brayso in the Gemara, a long brayso, which says that everything a person does, he has to do b'simcha shel mitzvah. He should only pray, he should only learn, he should do all good zaken, but it has to be mitoch simcha shel mitzvah. And then it says, according to the girsa that some people learn in that brayso, it's written, and so it is, that when you part from your friend, you should only part b'simcha. That's what, according to some opinions, that's what should be written in the Parsha. However, then the Parsha finishes, and then the Gemara brings a statement of one of the Amoraim, one of the great Amoraim. It's quite lengthy. He said it in the name of somebody else, and somebody else said it in the name of somebody else. And he says like this, that Al Yipoter Odom Mi Chaveroi Ela Mitoich Dvar Halocha. You must never part from your friend. Al Yipoter Odom Mi Chaveroi Ela, only if you say to him Dvar Halocha. Yeah, you say to him something, what to do with halacha in Torah. Shemitoi kach zochreihu. That if you do it that way, then somebody will remember somebody. So most people learn that means that the person who says the Dvar Halacha to the other person, that will be clear in the other person that he's going away. He will always remember that Dvar Halacha, and he'll remember that Dvar Halacha connected with you. So he'll always remember you. That's what the Parsha of the Gemara is. So why would that be the case? Since it's a very special moment that you're parting from your friend, and there's going to be now a distance between you, there has to be some eitzah to overcome this even of distance, place. There has to be some way of overcoming. So the Gemara says that what the best eitzah is l'chol Torah, like we said before. Or in Torah Kufa, it's interesting that he says Dvar Halacha, Shemitei Kach Zochri, that he will remember his friend by remembering this Dvar Halacha. Comes along to Marsha over there, and the Marsha said, no, it doesn't mean they'll remember one the other, but what it means is that they will remember the Dvar Halacha. that will cause them to remember the Dvar Halacha. And not only they will remember the Dvar Halacha, but that Dvar Halacha will remind them of another Dvar Halacha. That's what he said. And he bases himself on a story, what the Gemara now tells. So the Gemara says like this, that brings an example of how you should do it. So it's written that one of the great Amoraim, there was Rav Kahana. Now Rav Kahana is a very leading Amora, and he was a Talmid of Rav, or Rav Kahana. He was a very leading figure. So it's written that he accompanied Rav Simi Barashi, and he accompanied him quite a long way as he was parting. And then all of a sudden they passed a place where they grew some very important palm trees. And what was important about them, they were known to be very old, in age. So Reb Simi Paraji, he says to Rav Kahana, he said, you see these diklas? He said, it's makubal that Adam Arishan planted these trees. Yeah. Because these trees were planted by Adam Arishan. And therefore they're very special decals, how to call it, palm trees. So all of a sudden, Rav Kahana says to him, he says, Atkavasan Milsa, you have reminded me of something. Yeah. And he said, what did you remind me of? That there's a pasuk which says in, I think it's in Yeshaya Novi, that it's written that there are certain places in the world that Loi Over Ish, a man's never been through there, V'loi Yoshol Odom Shom, no man has ever settled there. So the Gemara says that, if nobody's ever walked past there, then that's obvious that Nobody's ever settled there. Well, Yosef Wadamshon. That seems to be superfluous. So you know what he said? He said, Odom doesn't refer to just any old man. That's referring to Odom Arishan. And what does it mean? It means that every place that Odom Arishan said is going to be settled, and that's worthy of being settled, that became settled. And what Odom Arishan didn't say it's going to be settled, is to this day it's not settled. The Odom Arishan, he was geyser on the whole year. Where's it going to be settled? And where he didn't say, oh, that part's going to be settled, it didn't become. That's what he said to him, Rav Khan's sister. So, everybody's very mischadish about this. There's a lot of interpretations, what does this mean? And that's the completion of it. So the Gemara apparently is bringing this as a dogma of what it said, that you should never part from your friend unless you say a Dvar Halacha. So since they started talking about Diklim, and that led Rav Khan to remind himself, and he said this whole thing about Odom Arishan, that would appear to be like a Dvar Halacha. So the great Meforshim break their heads to work out what sort of halacha is there here. What is halacha? So some people want to say that those decholim, even though they have rulos on them, since they go back to Odom Arishan, they're probably old and dry, so that they wouldn't be good to use as a lulav on sukkahs. And the people say, what's got to do one with the other? If it's growing, it's good, why not? Right? Yeah, there's a whole sort of discussion about it, but it's of interest. This is one of the suggestions that's made. However, what do we see? An amazing thing that this Rav Kahana, he said that wherever Odom Arishan, wherever he was geyser, and that's where there's Yeshua. Where he wasn't geyser, no Yeshua. Nobody sits there. It's all dependent in Odom Arishan. Adkan, that's what he said before he said goodbye to Reb Simon Barash. Avamela, I wanted to notice a couple of things about this whole thing. The first thing is that it's well known that everything our sages said is petachlis adiuk. They said it that way because that's the only way it could be said. So if you notice that they didn't say whenever you part from your friend, do kach v'kach. Or at the moment of parting, do this and this. But it's written, Al yipota odom mechaveri. A man should never part from his friend, ella only under the condition of kafaka. The beginning is, Al yipota odom mechaveri. So the Chassidim come along and say, that tells us that you never really part. Well, you should never really intend to part from your chaver. Al yipot odom mechaveret, ela, only under this and this circumstance, but that will cause him to remember you, so you're not really parting anyway. So from that we see there's an old klal in Yiddish. We say by Chassidim and by Yidden gesegnet sich macht nicht, that you don't say farewell. It's an old saying, and the Rebbe, I heard several times from the Rebbe at the end of Tishrei, before the Urchin were leaving, the Rebbe said, by Chassidim gesegnet sich macht nicht. You don't say goodbye, there's no such thing. Because you're always together. Chassidim are mishpacha, they're always linked, they're always together. So here the Gemara says, Mefurish, al yipota odom mechaveri. That's the lesson. Yeah, only if you already then you do it in such a way that it won't be. If it remains, al yipota odom mechaveri, as a kumtoit. But that's an amazing thing. I mean, they could have said it 50 ways. They said it that way to teach us an amazing lesson. That's number one. Number two is, what's this whole thing with with Olam Marishan. You know, what all of a sudden did we move in here with Olam Marishan, and we came to the conclusion that there's certain trees that he planted them, and then we talk about Yishu having been determined by him. So in order to get some sort of appreciation about that, we have to come to Chassidus. And there's a very famous statement in the Sefer HaYom Yom, but that's a Sefer that most of us learn pretty often, the Sefer HaYom Yom. So in another few days from now, in Vov Iyar, what Vov Iyar is at the end of next week, I think, Friday next week. In Vov Iyar, there, the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Rebbe brings down, B'Shem the Frierdiker Rebbe, that he said this Gemara, Ali Potter of Mechaveri, Ela Mitoik Dvar Halocha, and he says, Abir B'derech HaPnimiyas, and he says, listen, he said, you don't part from your chaver, but if already, that's what's happening, then you must say to him a dvar, which makes him into a mover, halacha. Halacha means to walk and to move, You've got to make him mobile. And what does it mean? You make him mobile, that he moves from one place to the other. Now, who was in our class yesterday night? Hello.
Mendel.
אתה היית בשיעור אתמול בלילה. למדנו על חילוק. דומני שאתה גם היית. למדנו על חילוק. Hiluk is a very special thing that when you, let's say I'm here, if I go to another place, then I'm not here anymore. Because if part of me remains here, then I didn't go anywhere. I'm still tied up with it. But if I go over there, I'm not here. Which means that going indicates a progress, what's called in Chassidus Shaloi Ba'era. It's not comparable, one level with the other, because I'm no longer here, I'm over there. I've moved. Yeah? So what you've got to do when you're parting from your friend, you've got to tell him something which will make him a mahaler. You've got to make him somebody, he's going to move. And he's going to take what you said so much to heart that if he was static for any reason, he's now begun to become a mover. He's going to progress. And in a way that he will be incomparably better the whole time compared to what he was before. That's what you got to do when you part from your friend. You got to tell him a dvar halacha, make him into a mahalim. Now, in the old days when I would have learned a thing like that, I would have fallen off my chair. I would have rolled onto the table. That's what we used to do in the old days. Yeah. And nowadays everybody's balabatis. Yeah. That's a very profound thing. That's an amazing shot. That's an amazing thing. Of a male, you've got to say to your friend when you're parting from him, you don't part from him, but when something like that happens, then you gotta say to him a dvar halacha. You gotta make him into a mahal. Yeah, and then Frierdiker Rebbe says that's even higher than malachim, because malachim are called oimdim. They're called standard. That's what we learned last night. But he's so busy writing, he doesn't remember what we learned. So that's what we learned. That the malachim are oimdim. Of a neshama of Yidden, they have the power to become mahalchim. Nosati l'chol mahalchim bein ha'oimdim ha'ele. Ava Mela, Yidden run between the malachim and beat them all together. They mahalchim. So that's great. Comes along over there in Hayom Yom, and the Rebbe says that the way to do that is to make the person he does everything in a way that he brings out from everything he learns a poyo tov. He brings out of everything that he learns action. In other words, you're not allowed just to remain as having learned something. Everything in Torah has a implication. What does that mean? the poyo. What does it mean? In action. So you've got to tell him something that will make him not only just learn that and hear it, but bring it into practicality. You understand? He will do something. So that's also pretty big. But then he adds that what is the best possible poil tov that can be? He says to do a toiva for a zweite yid. And he said that is the greatest mahalik that it is. He says to lazur lehazulas, and then he writes in Yiddish, a toiva ton a zweiten yidden, to do a favor for a second Jew. That's what he writes over there, the Friedrich. So that's l'chera, another inyan altogether. That's not dvar halacha, you know. That's l'chera, something else. So we have to be mizboinem. What does that mean? And what it means is that ultimately speaking, what is a poyel tov? What is a good activity by you? What does it mean that you bring out something out of your learning and your knowledge into poyel tov? What does that mean? It means that you've got to forget about yourself and do something with what we call in Metzora method. So you have to be prepared to overlook your own self. Probably that you're doing a good thing, but it's something in connection with yourself, then, you know, you can still say, well, I'm making myself a nice life. You know, I'm learning a lot of things. I'm living a beautiful life, you know, I'm doing great things. This is tremendous, you know. So the Friedrich says, I'm sorry, man, that's great, that's nice, everything fine, but the ultimate perfection of Chiluk is when you worry about the other person, and you forget about yourself, and you have Metzora to actually do a toiva, and he writes a few Gafne. You're doing a favor, make him a few bucks, or help him out or something. A favor Gafne. That's what he writes there. When I see that, I manage, you know, how do you call my glasses jump off with excitement. But this is an amazing thing. You understand? Kuta is that the ultimate way to reach the highest madrega of a neshama is a mahal. Well, it's even higher than that. You can be a jumper. You can be a medalid. That's even higher. But the highest is to do a teva for another Jew, a fila begashmi, even a physical teva for another Jew. Well, that's what turns you into the emissar mahalik. That makes you the emissar mahalik. So when you think about it, that's an amazing thing. That the ultimate purpose, and so it boils down to what the Baal Shem Tov said. It could be your neshama came down into the world and lives 80 years in the world, and all it came down for was to do a teva for another year. It came down into the world and it lived 80 years. It kept Torah and mitzvahs, and that's great. And that's what it was supposed to be. But that wasn't the ultimate kavanah. The ultimate kavanah was to do a teva for a zweite yid, a fila begashmi. Yeah, that's what the Baal Shem Tov said. Now, I'll just tell you a brief little story. When I lived in Bnei Brak the last few years, so it's not true because he passed away, unfortunately. He was a very great man. I was the neighbor, Mamish in the next binyan, you know. There lived a good year, they had to call him an Admor, a Polish Rebbe, and he was the Rebbe from Pint Kalim. And she was a very, very amazing guy. He was very, very able guy and tremendous. And I had the privilege that since I was a neighbor, we used to talk occasionally, you know. And I was very impressed with his Edelkeit, his greatness. You know, he was a very special person. He's very humble also, very, very, very special. So I'll just tell you a little story about him. That he came up to me one day and he said, you know something? He said, and he said, listen, I would like to learn Nista. They call siddhas Nista. So that's the. He said, I would like to learn Nista. So when I heard the word Nista, I thought he meant Kabbalah. You know. So I said, the Rav Voltron Lenin, Zoya, you know, I said. He said, no. He said, Tanya. That's what he said, Tanya. We'll learn Tanya. I said, oh, it's great. You know? And he said, what could be better? I have my neighbor who you learn Tanya every day. So let's get together and learn Tanya. So at that time, I was tremendously busy in the yeshiva. And when he wanted to learn, I wasn't even home yet. You know, so we only learned a couple of times together. And then I got him another very special person to learn with him. And that person doesn't want his name to be mentioned, so I can't tell you who it was, but I'm sure you would have heard of him. I got him at the time that I couldn't make it to come and learn with him tongues. So they learned for quite a while together. Every week they learned tongues together. And he was very into it. So one day, when they were learning together, this person that was teaching him, he said, the Baal Shem Tov said that you come down into the world for maybe 80 years, and the whole reason you came down was to do a teva another year. Even though you keep doing mitzvahs, no, but you came down only to do a teva for another year. So when he heard that, this Rebbe, Pins Khalil, he mamish went out of his kelim. He mamish went out of his kelim. And he said, this is the most amazing. He said, the Baal Shem Tov, what does he say? So this person said, there's Paul and Silas, you know, the Shem Baal Shem Tov. So you know what he said? He said, you must print me up a card with that statement which you just made, and you must print it up on a card, and print me a good, a good few 100 or 1,000 or whatever cards. And he said, Be'ezah Hashem, I'm going to give all my Siddim in Jerusalem. Most of his Siddim were in Jerusalem. And he used to spend Shabbos and Yom Tov in Jerusalem. He wasn't at home. But he liked living in this binyan in the neighborhood. Yeah. He said, I'm going to spread this around in Jerusalem. And he said, particularly amongst the other, was halten zechon in mir. He didn't say my Siddim. He said, those was halten zechon in mir. That's in Yiddish means they hold on to me, So he said, I'm going to spread that around. But kachoyo, we printed him up a card with this thing on it, yeah? And he gave it around, all around Jerusalem and all over. So it's a big thing, you see. And the Shoma comes down to the wall. And so the Friedrich Rebbe is involved here next week, Yom Yom, that is the ultimate shleima of being an emes machali by having Metzora never to help another Jew, I feel a begashmiya. That's what makes you an emes machali. So I saw by my teachers that these Siddim, what I was able to know, were just like that. They is about the Rabba. Did you know Rabba? I didn't know. You get Rabba. Rabba, there was some of the Siddim in Melbourne used to say about Rabba that if he thinks about other people. If every now and then he thinks about himself, that's like, Derech Hagav, he quotes it, by the way. It's sort of, I'm also here. It comes in by the side. Although most of the time, he's busy with other people. His mind is busy with. And I knew this person. I became very close with him. And mine must be a Reb Zalman. He cared about other people. You have no idea the way he cared about helping another Yid. And I saw this with my eyes and my ears and my understanding at an early stage, so it had a very big effect on me. It's had a very profound effect. From that we see that the Ikar perfection of being Dvar halacha, making somebody into a mahalach, is doing a tova for another year. Strange as it may sound, but that's what's written. Of Amela, what do I want to tell you guys? We have been privileged that Hashem dropped down Min HaShamayim Pinchas Eliyahu into our life. And Baruch Hashem for them. So we have to be thankful to Hashem that we had that great privilege. And we've had the privilege to assist him a little and to help him. But he's done a lot of work himself. He didn't wait around for us to assist him, even though we may be dead. However, the Ikka point is that we want to send him away in a way that we're going to make him a mahalech, a devar halacha. But ali pota odom mechaver. We're not parting from him, but we're just saying at the point of when he's going east. So we are giving him over that the Ikka devar halacha is to remember that the other guy needs you. The other guy needs you. And that's the basis of what Hillel has often told this charismatic fellow. That he came and he said he wants to learn the whole Torah, Beregal Achat, or Sham Yoimet, or Regal Achat. So Hillel said to him, that's the whole thing. What you do for another person, that's the Ikka. If you're ready for that, then you'll learn the whole Torah. And it'll all come to you. But that's the Nakuda. That's a Gemara Masechet Shabbat. That's the whole inyan. So we want to give over to Pinchas Eliyahu that he has to take the message that for sure he has to look after himself, he has to make sure he learns and he does, and he does everything and obeys Hashem. We're confident that he will. But on the other hand, you have to know that you didn't come down into this world just to look after yourself. You follow? And you got to take that from us. And that's our message to you, that you got to have Mesiras Nefesh for the other person. And then there's Bilti Sofi, that Hashem will help you. You follow? That goes without saying, that Hashem won't leave you, very good. He's not going to leave you without a shirt on your back, to use the expression here. This Vamel, he'll look after you. I don't know if he'll make you Rothschild. I don't know if he's going to make you all that, but whatever you need, you'll have. Hashem will help you. Vamel, that's our message. Vamel, all you put order mechavere, helmetei v'halacha. And that's the emes halacha. That's the emes halacha. Is to, when we spoke together, we spoke about it, halacha anyway. We spoke about Rabbein Thomas and the whole thing. That's the Dvar Halacha of Parsha. Now this is the Dvar Halacha of the Ruach Years, you follow? Yeah. And believe me, that's the way the Simcha. The Koloid, the Mentz is locked up in his own things, he's always on, Maybe this could be better, but if he's not so concerned with himself, and he's busy with other people and busy with bringing Mashiach, he's not so looked up with himself, then, Hashem will help him, Hashem looks after him, And that's what we see in Bapoyo Mamash. That's what occurs. If it's not today, it's another few days, it's another few weeks, another few months. The Eibishter knows his timetable, The Eibishter knows what he's doing. At a far more time, of Amela Hashem Shadel, that we always be in contact with all the Yopata Odom, me Chavere. You never part. I'm so mispulled from that lesson. The Gemara could have said 50 different lashon. Al Yopata Odom me Chavere. It doesn't occur. But if for some reason it gets in Gashmis, you're not in the same place, then Dvar of Amel, my boy, it has to be Besimcha. Because with a long face and with Marash Chayla, never get anywhere in this world. That's another big cloud. I remember Rav Abba, he used to talk about Mars Choira, like some terrible disease, you know. He would say, Mars Choira? Like somebody that's stricken with some terrible plague, you know, Mars Choira, you know. Show your eyes. They would, you know, always with a smile, you know. They were happy. And Hashem says, "I'll came to your lano. It should all be with Simcha. It'll be Alin Yonim, Rabba, Umufloga, and we'll be in contact. We'll always be Bekesha. And nowadays with these emails and all sorts of Skypes and Facebook,
Also telephone.
You'll be here for the year.
I hear that there's some guy,
For you the Jew.
I think it was there's some guy in America that he wants to make a whole series of satellites that will be all joined together all around the globe, which means that there's no longer Ein Klita. There won't be such a thing. And you can be in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean or the Black Sea or and somebody can be sitting in the middle of the Sahara Desert. You'll be able to talk to him just like I'm talking to you now. That's what they claim. It's going to happen. So for sure, there's not going to be any problem to have a connection. It'll be SSAs, it'll be SOs in the way we describe. The Chaim. It should be in
You're supposed to have such a nice arrangement. Charms.
Can I say something about my friend Pinchas? With your permission, can I say something about him? I want to say something about Pinchas, yeah? Okay. So, Pinchas, you have been a chaver and a chavruta to a number of us here in this room for a while. And this morning, we were in a Tanya Chug taught by Reb Baruch, and Parsha, through your initiative, we got into a discussion between the difference between Gashmiut and Ruchaniyut, between physicality and spirituality, that duality. And I've been thinking about that the whole rest of the day as applied to you. And one of the words that came to my mind was anak, a giant. From a physical point of view, there is no question that you are an anak. And in the Torah, though, we have presented two different kinds of anakim. In Breshit, we have the anakim that have a kind of relationship to Hashem. They are creatures that are elevated, that have this spirituality, that they are not like regular humans. On the other hand, we come to the point where Moshe Rabbeinu sends the scouts out, and 10 of them come back and they say, we can't do this, they are anakim, they are giants, we cannot defeat them. So this says to us that there are anakim and there are anakim. So we have to decide what kind of an anak we are going to be, how we look at life. The same way, for example, in the United States, we had President Abraham Lincoln, fellow lawyer. Either you could say that this was a man who maybe he suffered from Marfan's disease, he had a terrible family life, God forbid. On the other hand, he was one of the greatest presidents of the United States. He achieved wonderful things for the country. And so there is that decision, which derech do you go? And so with you, I think inherent in your very name, we can look at that choice. How can we look at Pinchas? Perhaps it is a composite of two elements, the Pin and the Chas. Perhaps it stands for Panui or Chaser. Are you open? Are you receptive to the word of Hashem? Or is it Chaser, missing? It's not there. In your case, I think it's quite clear that you are Panui. And I feel that Pinchas stands for Pnei Chesed, that you have the face, the appearance of Chesed. And that's how, when you go, which hopefully is going to be for a short time, those of us who remain here will be thinking of you and relying on you to return. While you are there, you will be a shaliach for Chabad and all that you have learned here, and we long for your return. And so, Yasher Koach, Toda Rabah.
I'll bring the guy. 2 minutes.
And here we have a video from Tovches Nissen 28 years ago, some of the points that the Rebbe made.
Should I take one?
Can everybody hear? I don't hear.
Also unser Gefühl zwischen euch auf Kopf von den 1, 2, 3, was soll man nicht gern Gott soll tun, was er soll tun. Weil wir nur ich, aber wir soll echt finden und soll sein Denken vom Jahr, Mama schon mit der Simcha mit Tuli wo.
Amen. Ad Mosa, Ad Mosa, Ad Mosa, Mosa, Ad Mosa.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hashem kol goyim shabecho, shabecho. Hashem kol goyim shabecho, shabecho.
Let
Gafne, I don't know so good English, but I always thought that Chassidim always party.
Huh?
I thought the Chassidim always party together.
Party.
You say that they don't party.
Should have always?
Party.
Party.
They always part together. Macht a party, man macht a verbringen.
Ja.
They always party.
Ja. Maar er hebben we gezegd, morgen gehoord, dingen verbrengen, zo wij.
Oh, ja. Dat is een geil. Geheim.
So listen, whatever we just saw on the screen just now, the Rebbe makes an amazing point. And the Rebbe says that l'choira, actioners, they're not a good midah. If you're in action, say lo tov. And yet nonetheless, we see by Moshe Rabbeinu, after the Chet HaEgel, he was asking for forgiveness for the Yidden. So he said, Ki am kashei oirafu, they're very stiff-necked people. V'solakta lavineinu ulachatoseinu unachaltonu. And you should forgive our sin, and you should give us our part in the world, and our, Eretz Yisrael, and the whole thing. So ask yourself the shalat, what's the connection one with the other? If they're an am kashei oirafu, then, forget about them. What's it? That's the way it's written in the Torah. The word salakta immediately out. So that means that Moshe Rabbeinu saw that in Kishay Erev there's a Maila also. There's a tremendous Maila in Kishay Erev, not just a Cheson. And the Kishay Erev, the Maila that there is in Kishay Erev, is that the Yidden are always going to stand firm where they have to stand firm. And you're not going to have a people like that. Here, they got the Kshayerof mixed up a bit. They got a bit mixed up here with the Maisa. But in the generations to come, you're going to see that the Yidden will be akshonim about what they have to be akshonim about Elokus and about Gila Elokus and Torah mitzvahs, all Sachen. For Kedusha, they're going to be akshonim. And that's the pshat, ki am k'shei oirev v'solakta. You must forgive them for that reason. So what it basically boils down to is Hashem was saying that you don't have anybody like them. Right now they got off the path of it. That's unfortunate. But you don't have anything better. Even, let's take the Chet. From which, because it's going to come the right moments when they're going to use the akshonas in the right way. And then you're going to be very impressed with the Keshay Yoel. That's what the Rebbe says about Moshiach, that he wants people should be akshonim. You have to use the Keshay Oirev in Kedusha to bring the Geula. You have to say to the Yevus, we need the Geula, we're not Mavater. And therefore the Rebbe said if there'll be a minion of akshonim, if there'll be 10 people that were genuinely akshonim, then Mashiach would have been here already. And the Alter Rebbe, earlier in the Seder, just before that, the Rebbe quotes from, there's a Ma'amah from the Alter Rebbe in what's called the Ma'amorim Kitzorim. The Alter Rebbe, at the beginning, in the early years when he came back from the Magid the first time, and he began leading his followers, the Alter Rebbe used to say short Ma'amorim. They're called the Ma'amorim Kitzorim. And they're very powerful. They sort of pack huge concepts and take it into a few sentences. They're very amazing and very powerful. later on in the Kuti Terrors, it's much longer. It's after Peterburg. That was after, but this is in the years before Peterburg. And they were short of memory. So over there, it's brought down at the Alter Rebbe writes over there that if there would be tzaddik echod, המשעקש שחייב לבוא הגאולה היה משיח בא. He said, tzaddik echod. As I say to us. Over there, Chassidim asked the question, what sort of tzaddik is this? Is this the tzaddik in Tanya? The tzaddik Gomer in Tanya? It's pretty hard to find guys like this, So, who is this? So therefore, the pshat makubal is that it means El Hayed, the world calls somebody who's a really, from a yid, they call him a tzaddik. If the Alter Rebbe meant you have to be a emes El Hayed, but you have to stand and be, you have to be actual Am Kishay Erevu. You have to stand to the Eibishter and say, we're not Mavater. We want Moshiach Baregazeh. We want. So the Rebbe says at the end of the Sikha that if everybody were to behave that way, Moshiach would have to come. That's what he said. And so what the basic message of this amazing Sikha was that we're all going to take Moshiach personally, not to say, oh, this is the Rebbe's Indian. Well, with the Rebbe, of course, whatever the Rebbe says, we go along with it. Nishta. But in this, we've got to make it our own personal crime. Kilo, Neumann, each and every one of us has to say to himself, Moshiach is waiting for me. I got to do something. I can bring the Gula. That's what the Rebbe meant. That's the whole message. That each and every one of us has got to realize the tremendous potential that he has. And that's what the Alter Rebbe meant in the Maimah, Hakotah, Tzaddik Echod. If he would really, press the right way for Mashiach, we'd already be holding by it. But we sort of, when it comes to the point, we sort of hold on to the goals of it, say, wait a minute, take it easy, what's going to be with me, and you fall back into the Balbatisha oil. You fall back into what's called a little bit of Morish Chayra as well, the horrible disease called Morish Chayra. You fall back into it a bit. No. That's the way it remains. Of a male that everybody wants, that it could. We want Moshiach, no messing around. Of a male Hashem should help us at KT Alana. And the Rebbeinu Shalom, I speak, we should all be together where Yidden really belong. I mean, where a Yidden, Yidden belong here in Sfas, that's for sure. But let's say Pinchas Eliyahu is going to Philadelphia. I mean, let's face it, Yidden really belong in Philadelphia. We come Philadelphia to Yidden,
Gafne,
Let's get to
the Rainiger Rebbe was there.
Never mind. Yidden, for some reason, had to go to Philadelphia in order to be Mavaras and Natzutzais, to bring back some sort of shalom from over there. But the Rebbe's point is enough shalom already, How much does he able to need shalom, Must all the Nitzutzis have already been born. It's already been finished. And the Friedricher Rebbe says that we're waiting at the parade and we're already polishing the buttons. I was in the Australian Army at one point when I was young, and we used to have to polish our shirt buttons. They gave you a special bottle of liquid polish that you had to polish the buttons. Over here, there's no time for that. They got no time for that sort of nice pattern. Over here, it's much more realistic. Over there, you have to polish it. So the Rebbe says that they've already done that also. If that was necessary, they've already polished the buttons. We're all standing in the parade, We want the king to come past. It was all given the covet of the Melech, the Emes Melech. אבל תהיה לנו בפועל ממש תוספת ונקודה. And that's what we learned last night in the Maimah. The Rebbe says that everything which is poil mamis, well, it comes from a very high level. To be poil something, but Matthias or Elon, Hanifra, that should be poil mamis, well, that's a very, very elevated koya. But to bring Mashiach, but poil mamis, to make it actually happen in the Elam HaGashmi, that's very, very high koya. The only way the Rebbe sees that a limited person like ourselves can do that, he has to be mitakesh. He has to use the kishayur of Kedusha. He's got to be hard to deal with. And Hashem should all the Kain Te'olam, and all of us together, we should all be in the place where we really belong together with the Rebbe. And that's what the Rebbe says in the same Sikha. He writes it. I read it before I came earlier. The Rebbe writes that when Mashiach will come, Chaim Nitzchi, and all those who are here, and they will go into the world of Mashiach, will automatically move into Chaim Nitzchi. And that's what he writes. Yeah, that's Zemashu Omer, Shama Litnik said. Aber mir ist noch a Kleinigkeit, Chaim Nitzchi. It's an amazing Inyan. And the Rebbe promises it over there. He doesn't just talk about it. He says that that's what's due to every year in this time and age. Aber mir Hashem should help. And therefore all the Yidden that they need a refuah shleima should have it. Because they've got to be together with us to Makabel Pnei and shit to Kaino. We can't have people sick. That doesn't work that way. We have to have alle gesunde Menschen, alle gesunde Freiheit. And Bepoel Mamis, they must have a magnet mobile. So Bepoel Mamis, they must really go away. But she have Bepoel Mamis. And we'll hear a lot of good news. We'll hear a lot of good news, and hopefully we'll also have a lot to give over good news. We'll be able to give over a lot of good news. And it's very important, to keep a kesher. When I left Australia, I never believed that after 52 years, or approximately, I would still have a connection with my Mashpia. But he had an amazing gift, and there was no emails and Skypes and all these messages. He used to write me a letter every couple of weeks. For well over 40 years, I got a letter from my Mashpia. It's an amazing thing. It's a koyach and a kishorim, a gift. How to preserve a connection with something. Well, it's not so simple. But if you're really, devoted to it, then it can happen. It happens, you follow? So I don't want to place too much on his shoulders. You've got enough to worry about it. But nonetheless, have a few minutes for us also. And it'll be good for all of us. Not only just for you, but it'll be good for us as well. It's important, All of us together will join in a bracha metzorefes, that he called a combined blessing that should be also even a key naila, a key pesimcha, and a key mitoch harchova. And the Rebbe said, you didn't have to be a shirin. That's what the Rebbe said. Not that seeker, but another seeker wrote about the same. The Rebbe said, you didn't have to be gvirim. That's what he said. Everybody has the right to be an osher. I wish you a happy gvirkeit. And all of us together, please, Hashem. L'chaim.
Refuah for Zimroni Zelig ben Tzipora Fega and Chaim Zalman ben Miriam.
And Moshiach now, Ben Shalom. Pearl money.
Yosef HaKohen,
That's the whole Indian.
Ben Amiri.
And just like by the men, the Indian cannot see it, bring it into action, but it demands the highest. Up the season, up from Mount I say it's coming over the mind lesson. That's the pearl money, right money pearl. That's to come from a very high level. Bezos Shem came to your London with pearl money.
Amen.
Amen.
The second night that I was here, he made a farbrengen in the Zal, in Lud, in the old days when the yeshiva was in Lud, before when I was there. So Shlomo Chaim, he used to have a way that he would be mitlavesh of somebody, of a bocha, somebody in the farbrengen, and he would, sort of pour from him on him, and that was his way of hinting at everybody. Somebody, he would make somebody like you might call in inverted commas the victim. So he sorts out this bocha, and he pours on him that he's not really shy to anything, he's not really into it, and everything. And he said, the main problem with you is, he says that you don't even want. You don't really want. If you would really want, then you would be different, you understand? But you don't really want. So the book was so, so taken aback, So he sort of numbered a little bit, and then he said to Shlomo Chaim, he said, Ein Hanami. He said, that's true. He said, I don't want. Ich will nicht. He said, but ich will willen. He said, but I would want to want. He said, I don't want properly, but at least I want to want. So I said, I said, willst willen, das ist schön etwas. I remember the whole thing very clearly. I'm sitting at the table. The first time I've ever been to Tazria for bringing, I hear him saying, and I hear the Bacha answer him, so that L'chol said, will willen. He wants to want. But when it comes to what we just saw from the Rebbe, maybe we don't want yet, but tonight has to be put, we want to want, you know. We have to want, you understand? So saying that give Amitis Vashlema, take of me out.
Now.
Amen. Then we want only problem with only pot on the Mechavera, together. The whole thing will all be Yisaftas, all this together,
Under the date.
in the Hazorah, the Beis Hamikdash,
Benji, you gotta want to
all
want.
this together to everybody.
You
Good.
want to want.
Okay, my boy, so listen, you got Shabbos coming up, and so there'll be other fabrics and other things. So
24 hours.
hope that we've given you a bit of a start. Then you'll be able to cash in another inyanim of give a cook. So you have to have what the Siddur call a little bit of Metzora nefesh. Metzora nefesh, you brought down in Siddur. That doesn't mean you jump off the edge of the building or something, wave a flag and jump into the river or something. That's not what I mean.
No flag?
No, Metzora nefesh means, the word nefesh means will. It's written by Avraham Avinu that he said to the Hittites, Im yeshes nafshechem likpoyeres meisi milofanai. If you want to help me bury my Im yeshes nafshechem. Well, if you want. Well, nefesh means will. Mesirus nefesh means opgeben. In Yiddish, opgeben means to give over or to give into somebody else's reshus. Opgeben dem Rotzen. To give over your Rotzen. Your Rotzen is very powerful. And it moves around and shows its power in all sorts of directions. You've got to take that Rotzen and give it away to what the Rebbe says, to bring Mashiach. And also, like we said, to do a teva for a try to give away your rotten, to help other people. And that's the whole secret. That's what's written in our Yom Yom. That's the union. So there we are. And Hashem Shalom, that it be a Komi Texan.
Amen.
And Hashem Shalom, that we ain't Nachanami. We don't part. Ali Poto. That's what it really is all about. So, I'm no good at this party business anyway, so I'm not even going to talk about it. Ali Poto, I got a Gemara. Ali Poto, Odin Mechaver. Never, all of us members.
Amen.
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 And Hashem, we have a minion of very good friends, everybody here. Everybody means the
Main line.
all this together, we roll with
L'chaim says Frierdiker Rebbe, who was in Philadelphia, like we talked about, Frierdiker Rebbe, he said about the ocean, it doesn't separate us, it connects us. So you should have a big time connection, and I know that you do, and that you're loved, you will be loved, and you should have a lot of bracha v'hatzlacha. The main thing is bracha v'hatzlacha.
Amen.
Chaim l'chaim.
Chaim lebrocha. Geschifut zum Mann.
27, right?
En goed zetten. En goed
Whatever
zetten.
says that 27
Goed.
is 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and 3 nines is 27. So the 27th of the month indicates 3 times 3 times 3. But 3 times is already chazokah, as the Gemara says. Gimel piyamim hove chazokah. 3 times 3 times 3 is that you can't have any bigger chazokah than that. Ultimately, chazokah that Mashiach is coming 3 times around.
Amen.
Per month. Chaim. Okay, everybody will give me a button.
Chaim.
I already said I need to sort of retire a little bit. And everybody should have a good Kov Ches Nisan and a good Shabbos and this strange Metzora called Mashiach that he's singing outside Royman. He doesn't want to bandage himself. He wants to come. Soll should come on, you know. Let it should be. Soll should sein die Gula. Soll should sein die Gula. Soll should sein die Gula. Mashiach soll should kommen. Soll sein die Gula. Soll should sein die Gula. Soll should sein die Gula. Mashiach soll should kommen.
Maybe I can be on the other side.
I give you a laughter.
In Elan?
No, in the
Everybody can continue for burn, but you'll forgive me. I got him, And Ozayim Besuras Teva, in some case, everybody should have everything he needs. King Nifla, and he was saying, Koya Nissa. Good.
Pinchas first came to Spot, he was 5'7". Look at him now. He's going to come back in 2 years, he's going to be 7 feet tall.
No, I've gone back to 5'7".
Bracha Achrona.